Hi everybody, we're back again with a new Patricia Polacco book. This is episode 1 of Chicken Sunday. We're going to take 3 different episodes to enjoy this beautiful book about love and friendship. You might have read it before, or you might have heard your teachers read it to you. It's a pretty popular Patricia Polacco book. It's one of my favorites. Here's the picture on the first page. Stuart and Winston were my neighbors. They were my brothers by a solemn ceremony we performed in the backyard one summer. They weren't the same religion as I was. They were Baptists. Their grandma, Eula May Walker, was my grandma now too. My babushka had died 2 summers before. Sometimes my mother let me go to church on Sunday with them. How we loved to hear Miss Eula sing. She had a voice like slow thunder and sweet rain. I love that simile. Did you hear Patricia Polacco use like to compare Miss Eula's voice to slow thunder and sweet rain? We'd walk to church and back. She'd take my hand as we crossed College Avenue. Even though we'd been churching up like decent folks ought to, she'd say, I don't want you to step in front of one of those cars too fast. You'll be as flat as a hen's tongue. And then she squeezed my hand. I think hens actually do have flat tongues. As flat as a hen's tongue. We know what that is, right? It's another simile. When we passed Mr. Kadinsky's hat shop, Miss Eula would always stop and look at the window at the wonderful hats. Then she'd sigh and we'd walk on. Here's the picture on this page. We call those Sundays Chicken Sundays because Miss Eula almost always fried chicken for dinner. There'd be collard greens with bacon, a big pot of Hoppin' John, corn on the cob, and fried spoon bread. One Sunday, at the table, we watched her paper fan flutter back and forth, pulling moist chicken-fried air along with it. She took a deep breath. Her skin glowed as she smiled. Then she told us something that we already knew. The Easter bonnet in Mr. Kadinsky's window is the most beautiful I ever did see, she said thoughtfully. The 3 of us exchanged looks. We wanted to get her that hat more than anything in the world. Stuart reached into a hole in the trunk of our wish tree in the backyard. He pulled out a rusty Band-Aid tin. The 3 of us held our breath as we counted the money inside that we had been saving for weeks. If we were going to get that hat for Miss Eula in time for Easter, we were going to need a lot more than this, I announced. Maybe we should ask Mr. Kadinsky if we could sweep up his shop or something to earn the rest of the money, Stuart said. I don't know, Winnie said fearfully. He's such a strange old man. He never smiles at anyone. He always looks so mean. We all agreed that it was worth a try anyway. That's a creative solution to ask Mr. Kadinsky if they can do some chores around the shop. Here's this page. There's Mr. Kadinsky, and there's some kids running away. The next day, we took a shortcut down the alley of the back of the hat shop. Bigger boys were there. They were yelling. Eggs flew past us and pelted Mr. Kadinsky's back door. Just as the boys ran away, the door flew open. Mr. Kadinsky glared straight at us. You there, he yelled. Why do you kids always do something like this? It wasn't us, Stuart tried to say, but Mr. Kadinsky wouldn't listen to us. All I want to do is live my life in peace. I'm calling your grandmother, he shouted, and he wagged his finger in Stuart's face. So they got blamed for something they didn't do, didn't they? How does Miss Eula look? She looks pretty sad to hear the news. Miss Eula was waiting in her living room for us. Miss Eula, we didn't throw those eggs, I sobbed. Some big boys did, Stuart sputtered. What were you doing at the back of the hat shop to begin with? She asked. We knew we just couldn't tell her the truth, so we just stood there and cried. She looked at us for a long while. Baby dears, I want to believe you. Heaven knows I brought you children up always to tell the truth. If you say you didn't do it, then I believe you. It's too bad, though, she went on to say, that poor man has suffered so much in his life. He deserves more than eggs thrown at him. You know, he thinks you threw the eggs. You'll have to show him that you are good people. You'll have to change his mind somehow. This is an interesting book to talk about character point of view, right? So even though we can see through our perspective and the author's perspective that these kids weren't the ones who threw the eggs, Mr. Kadinsky, his perspective in the story shows us that he really does believe that they were the ones who were guilty, and you can kind of understand why he jumped to that conclusion. I think it's also interesting that Miss Eula is asking the kids to empathize with Mr. Kadinsky, telling them a little bit about how he's lived a hard life. So today you'll see right below this video a question to answer about this first third of Chicken Sunday. See you next time, friends.